Hey guys, Andrew Strout. I'm here in the sideboard. I'm sitting with Daryl Ayers. How's it going, Daryl?
Pretty good.
You have chosen to play a kind of a spicy number for the standard portion here. Yeah. You're playing Naya tokens.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about what this deck is trying to do and why you chose to play it for the standard portion of this tournament.
Oh, well, why I chose to play the deck is there's no legitimate reason. Like, the deck is good.
Okay.
So when you have a friend that's as dashing and as skilled as Michael Majors, you just ask him for a deck list.
Sure.
He gives it to you, and you just play it. You don't question what he says.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blind one.
All right. Michael Majors not in attendance this weekend. Unfortunately, could not make it for school, I believe. So passed it off to you. I don't actually know why I couldn't make it, but I think it was school. That sounds right. But passed it off to you, and you have been doing some good work with it.
I have.
So this is a deck that you mentioned Michael Majors. He played it at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, him and Dan Jordan both played at the Pro Tour. They both had strong standard results.
Okay.
But their Pro Tour deck was actually significantly different than this one.
Right.
In its core.
There's one big kind of front piece of this deck that you have that they did not have that technology yet. You were playing all 4 Goblin Rabble Masters.
Yes.
Now, this is a card that has been showing up a lot in Standard. Of course, it has its own archetype in the mono red form, but in a tokens deck, it makes sense. It feels like something we all should have thought of by now. But how's the card been for you?
It's been exceptional. Like against the control decks, it's the card you play they have to kill.
Right.
Even against mono blue, it probably shouldn't be that good, but this deck has a large number of removals, so I just kind of like kill this guy, and then I just had a couple tokens in play, and then you're just going to build on your board advantage from there.
Okay. So we're calling this deck a tokens deck. It is also, in a sense, like a Planeswalkers deck.
Yeah, there's 7 in the deck.
Yeah, you have 4 Xenagos, 1 Elspeth, and then 2 Nissa Worldwaker.
Yep.
That's a package that has seen play. Of course, these are very powerful cards. Nissa Worldwaker is another card that is it's taken its time to actually kind of catch on in Standard. People knew it was good. People weren't quite sure how good. Yeah. People seem like they're playing it everywhere now. This is the first time I've seen it in Naya. So how has that card been for you?
Well, my favorite part of Nissa Worldwaker is that it has a complete nombo with Elspeth. You can kill all your own lands when they're 4/4s. It's terrible.
Yeah, okay.
But other than that, it's been exceptional because 4/4 is huge. It kills everything.
Okay.
And like against the control decks, it's hilarious because if they have planar cleansing, you just it doesn't kill lands.
Right.
It doesn't kill any of your lands.
Sure.
And if they have like Supreme Verdict, you still have the Nissa, and then you just kill them with your other lands.
Right.
So like long as you don't overextend into one of their particular sweepers, it'll just kill them on their own. And
sure. And even the versions that don't have planar cleansing have the Tension Sphere instead, which also can't target lands.
Yeah.
So the fact that the threats it makes are lands kind of gives you some extra resilience there. And also, it just makes big animals to kill people.
Yeah, I didn't know they had trample until someone told me.
I had that experience. I blocked one with a 2/2 and died. Yeah, I learned that the hard way too. I think a lot of people are learning that the hard way.
Yeah.
But I guess you learned it like the good way, where
someone told me.
And then you ended up trampling over and winning.
Yeah, Eric Johnson, he told me. Most people probably won't know him. He's a guy from Philly. He said, "Yeah, I can't believe how many people don't know he doesn't. The lands get trampled." I was like, "Lands get trampled?"
Right? Yeah.
That's sweet.
It's weird flavor text, you know? Yeah.
Exactly what happened. Yeah.
All right. And then the other card I want to talk about in your main deck, Perforos God of the Forge.
Oh, yeah.
So this card kind of flies under the radar, and it's a little weird here. I don't think you can. Is it even possible to turn it on to make it a creature in this deck? You'd have to have like all 4 of your Rabble Masters and a Xenagos.
If I had 3 Rabble Masters and a Xenagos, it could turn on, but I mean, it could be an enchantment with no text, and it would be the same thing.
So just the God text, you could be completely irrelevant. You just want to be hitting people for 2.
Against blue-white control, he played. He read for 4 or 5 at the end of my turn, and I had drawn, I think, land almost every single turn in the game. And when he revved, I responded by. There's 1 chord in the deck, so I chorded for Xenagos. Yeah. Or not Xenagos.
For Perforos.
For Perforos.
Yeah.
And then a couple turns later, I drew a Xenagos, and then I'm like, make a 2/2, kill your Jace,
okay.
pop, attack.
Sure. So giving it that extra range against Planeswalkers, that seems huge, actually.
It was very strong.
Okay. Speaking of range, speaking of throwing fire at people's heads, there's a sideboard card in here that I'm very excited about. I know you mentioned that you've done some good work with it so far in this tournament. You have 4 Boros Charms in your sideboard. Tell me a little about this card.
Well, it's I think you only board them in against the blue-white control decks.
Okay.
And that matchup can be a little shaky, but depending on how many Boros Charms can really turn things around. Like my round 5 opponent, I had 2 of the new, what's the new O-ring called? Banishing Light. I had Banishing Light, his Jace, his Archangel Thune. I had a Xenagos and a token in play.
Yep.
He taps out for a planar cleansing. I borrow his charm, make all my things indestructible. They all live, and then his Nyx Fleece Ram died.
All right. And
then next turn he cast another one, and then I died because I had nothing in play.
Because you didn't have another Boros Charm.
Exactly that.
All right. So 4 Boros Charm, very good, still not enough. Probably need 6, right?
It was sweet though.
Yeah, the card does sound fantastic, especially against sweepers. I'm sold on it.
Yeah.
So all right. So you mentioned that blue-white is not that great a matchup, or like could be kind of rough without Boros Charm. What are you hoping to play against when you're playing this deck?
Black decks, other creature decks like the green-white deck. Mono blue can be a little bit shaky. Like on paper, all their cards line up super well against me, so I think it's an unfavorable matchup. But you have enough mana that overloading mortars is pretty easy, and you have 3. You have 4 banishing lights after sideboard. You can like get out a pretty quick Archangel Thune or Scavenging Ooze after you kill some guys. Maybe trading combat here when you can. And like one creature can really just win the game against them, so that's what you kind of have to focus on.
Sure.
But that matchup seems like it could be shaky, and blue-white can be a little loose. Black seems pretty good, but I haven't played against it yet, so
all right, fair enough. So the assumption is that mono black would have trouble with, of course, just jamming planeswalkers down their throat that kind of leave value.
Play a planeswalker every turn, play voice so they can't edict you.
Yeah, 4 Voice of Resurgence, just kind of casually hanging out in there with all the mana guys.
It's just in the deck for some reason, but it's been sweet. So.
All right, fair enough. Cool. Well, thanks for sitting down with me, Daryl.
Yeah, no problem.
Stick around. We've got plenty more coverage coming of the Invitational here in New Jersey.